What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Soggy Nachos, bringing you another Corporate Clash video. This one's gonna be different than the videos that I usually make, which is, maybe some gameplay, some rants. I'm just gonna talk about what my thoughts about Corporate Clash are as a whole. So I've been playing Corporate Clash for like three weeks to a month now, but I've been playing non-stop because it really pulled me in. I mean, I was playing Toontown Rewritten, like I said. Quarantine started, I played a whole lot of Toontown Rewritten, brought myself from like 23 laugh to 124 laugh, and got introduced to Corporate Clash by some homies, and they were like, yo, you should really play Corporate Clash, Soggy Nachos. It is, a really good game. I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. I started playing Corporate Clash. I mean, the population isn't huge, and definitely I think in the beginning playing in Toontown Central, you kind of, I guess, have a decent amount of people, but not really. You're kind of alone on the streets a lot in the beginning of your toon tasks. But overall, Corporate Clash is a really good game. I mean, they made all the gags relevant. Like, your level 4 gags are relevant, your level 5 gags are relevant, your level 6 gags are relevant, your level 7s are relevant, and then definitely your fucking level 8s are extremely relevant. I mean, the game does such a good job at making gags relevant. So, there's a lot of good reasons as to why I think people need to at least give Corporate Clash a try. I know it was huge when it first dropped in like 2018, but I think that I don't know, man. I mean, there's on the weekend there's like 400 or 500 people on Corporate Clash, and then during the weekdays it's like maybe 200 people. It's not a whole lot, but it's still enough for you to be able to get groups. Like, you try to do a huge cog building, like a 6-story cog building. I mean, you're gonna get a group. It's just not as fast as, say, Toontown Rewritten. But that drop off is almost worth it because of how good the game is, honestly. My cat just knocked over a broom and it made a really loud noise. So yeah, I don't know. I would definitely say that any of you guys that have never played Corporate Clash, definitely give it a try. It is literally miles better than Rewritten. I mean, like I said, the gag balance, the way that you level up, like, you now, from any cog that you fight, anything that you do, you gain a level. You ride the trolley, you gain trolley levels. You get an achievement and a laugh boost point every 10 trolley levels, every 10 fishing levels, every 10 golfing levels, every 10 racing levels. It takes away the annoying grind that is behind playing this game, right? There's lots of different strategies. Like, you really have to walk into Corporate Clash thinking about what kind of build you want to do. I mean, I spent hours just thinking about how I wanted my toon to look. You can pick your starting gags, You can start out with whatever you want. So you can start out lure and throw. You can start out throw and zap. You can start out squirt and zap. There's so many different gag combinations that you can try, and with the gag prestiging, it's like, oh, I can have 5 gag tracks, I can have 6 gag tracks, I can have 7 gag tracks, or you could have 8 gag tracks, which I wouldn't recommend having 8 gag tracks, because 8 gag tracks, you'll have no prestige gag tracks, and you won't be able to really help your team out very well. You're not going to be a versatile player. And then there's also different kinds of, toon types that you have. You have like your attack toons, you have your support toons, and you have your hybrid toons that are good for attacking and not attacking. And the cool thing is that, like, if you're a player that likes to play soundless, you will have a way better chance getting away with it in Corporate Clash than you do on Toontown Rewritten, where sound, on Rewritten, you need to have sound, basically. You can get away with not having sound, but you basically need to have sound in order to be able to get yourself through some of the cog facilities, or being able to, like, have to do those really long grinding tasks where you have to do 7 back 9s to get a promotion, just to get a laugh boost on your boss pot suit. So, a number of those things are, what causes you to have to use sound, and it also makes the game super fucking boring, because you're like, all right, I have to use sound every 2 seconds, and you're not doing anything else besides that. So I don't know. There's definitely a number of reasons as to why sound isn't even the meta anymore, which is really dope. I mean, a lot of people still say to get sound and to prestige your sound, and that it's necessary. I mean, I'm personally going tune-upless and soundless, which is like a double whammy of what the fuck. But honestly, it makes for a very interesting playstyle that you still are very useful to your team because you're straight up attack. You're straight up attack. You're doing hella damage to all the cogs, and sound is gonna help you wipe out those lower level cogs. But as soon as you are fighting level like 16, 17, 18 cogs in the higher level boss fights, what are you gonna do with your sound? Like, there's not as much that you can do with your sound. And even me as a soundless toon, I've had no difficulty getting into any facilities, boss fights, buildings. That might be special in part because the game isn't extremely popular, even though it should be because the game's dope as fuck. But additionally, it's one of those situations. It's one of those situations that seeing it that it's not necessary makes the game have more versatility for your gag choices and the things that you're going to do in order to succeed when playing, whatever that you're playing. Because they introduce Zap and Prestige Squirt. So you take Squirt, you prestige it. Your Squirt now, depending on which cog you squirt, you can soak up to 3 cogs at the same time. And if you have a high level Zap, you're doing a whole lot of damage to a lot of cogs. And even Prestige Zap on top of that, without having that damage fall off, you're doing a significant amount of damage to cogs that almost eliminates the need for sound in certain given situations. And like I said, I haven't gotten a hard time for not having sound. Maybe because the game's not that, not as popular, but also at the same time, because you don't need to do fucking 10 DA offices just to get a promotion, people don't care as much about the fact that you might not have sound in a given situation. So that's really dope. So for the soundless tunes, definitely, hop on it and give Clash a try. If you said, I had to give up being a soundless tune because on Toontown Rewritten, nobody would play with me because I don't have sound, which is a very common occurrence. But I digress about talking about being soundless, being tune-upless, but the fact that there's so many different builds that you can, get yourself into is, a big thing that makes this game really cool. The task line, there's a lot of text. If you're trying to run and do the task line and you're trying to pay attention to the task line, I find myself paying attention to the really important stuff like Lil Oldman, or if I see Mozart or Sid Sonata, like an SOS tune that I'm used to having in my book, I might stop and listen to what they have to say. Other than that, I'm clicking through what just straight clicking through what the shop owners have to say because they're talking for 10 minutes straight. I sit there, I click the mouse 12 times in a row, and I'm like, wow, it took me 15 seconds just to skip through. It took me 15 seconds just to skip through all of the stuff that the shop owners had to say to begin with. If you're into long storylines, definitely Corporate Clash is dope, and they really did a good job of making it a different spin on Toontown Online. But I don't know, the storyline could be a little too long. But it's really cool because it's a harder game. So, you're walking into it, you're fighting a 6-story cog building. You fight cog after cog after cog after cog. You start running low on gags. And you really have to be smart about the gags that you use, or else, your team might not succeed. And you go into a boss fight. I've done VPs and we lose 3 or 4 tunes in the VP because when you get to the 3rd level, when the VP is about to die and he's on that 3rd to last platform, he jumps, he does 30 damage. That's wild. The CFO's decently hard too because you're fighting some big cogs. And I haven't done any CJs or CEOs yet, but I only imagine that they put some type of tough spin on that as well. But overall, Corporate Clash is a really dope game that everybody needs to give a try. Let's see what else I wanted to cover. In this. Yeah, I covered that the leveling system is dope. And also, they update the game. Holy shit, Toontown Rewritten does not update it at all. Toontown Rewritten dropped back in 2012 when I was making videos about Toontown Rewritten and Toontown Infinite News. And, there was the talk about Toontown Rewritten being the superior server, and there was a reason why I picked Toontown Infinite over Toontown Rewritten to begin with, in that Toontown Infinite is actually a harder game. The RNG is not necessarily in your favor. You know, the dodge rate is higher, etc., etc. Stuff that basically Toontown Corporate Clash took and turned into something, you know, even better. But Toontown Rewritten doesn't even update their game. I mean, I'm going to keep saying the same shit. Toontown Rewritten dropped a YouTube video, first of all, claiming to be Toontown, but, like, dropped a video saying, field offices are coming out 2015. It's 2020, 5 years later, we don't have field offices. And Toontown Corporate Clash literally goes down 2 times a day, you know, for updates. So, you know, I don't see, you know, why anyone feels as though they would even want to play Rewritten over Toontown Corporate Clash. I mean, I find no good reason to play Toontown Rewritten over Corporate Clash. I first hopped on Corporate Clash and I was like, all right, well, I'm still, you know, working on my tune and Rewritten, and, you know, I want to play both at the same time, so maybe I'll multi-tune while doing my back nines on Rewritten while also trying out Corporate Clash. I played Corporate Clash for 2 days and haven't even touched Rewritten. All my plants are probably dead. You know, I don't even play the game. You know, with the lack of updates, you know, with you only going into a facility and just using sound, it's not as fun. You know, they introduced Zap into the game. They introduced a whole nother gag in each gag track and, like, redid the cogs. The cogs go up to such high levels now. I mean, there's so many situations in this game that prove that, you know, Corporate Clash is a dope game. I mean, you know, obviously it needs a higher it needs a higher player base, and, you know, obviously there seems to be groups of people that feel as though, like, you know, certain builds are better than certain builds, and that, you know, they don't, you know, necessarily think that you're a good player because you don't have this certain build. And I mean, it's a complicated game because you're looking at your prestiges, and, you know, you're trying to figure out whether or not you want to prestige a gag, or if you just want to get your next gag track, or, you know, if you need to train your gags, like, what's your next thing to do. So there's a lot of, you know, different situations as a person who's been playing Toontown since 2004, so, like, you know, what, 15 years now, that I had to find myself looking shit up online and asking people maybe, like, you know, what a good combo is, and also just finding out for myself and trying to understand what different combinations are good for certain situations, you know, which kind of also leads into why I'm soundless and tune-upless, but I think I'm going to save that for a whole nother video. But just based off of the things that I'm saying right now, you know, Toontown Rewritten, if they really want to stay as a server on the top, then they should probably update the game more. I mean, I think Corporate Clash update 1.1, which updates a whole lot of shit, and it makes it, I mean, I think, you know, you walk up to the door and there's a knock-knock joke, and those heal you now. And they changed, I think, the level 7 tune-up gags. There's something different than the treasure chest. I don't remember exactly what that was. But they're doing a whole lot of stuff to make the game feel a lot better. Even the cool shit, like, I can open up my sticker book and I can change my clothes. Or if I do a tune task to get something like, you know, big tune or white tune, or, like, you know, some kind of different cheesy effect, that stays with my tune forever. That they have the whole side quest type situation. You know, Toontown actually feels like an MMO now after starting to play Corporate Clash. And, you know, they introduced the whole new cog shit, what are they called? Whole new cog type as well, the fucking board bots, right? I love the head honcho, for example. I mean, if anyone's never even played, even just check out the new board bots. Like, the head honcho, every time I walk up to him, he'll be like, "Take a seat, let's discuss some business," which I just think is a hilarious line for, like, a cog to say. Like, it feels so natural, and it feels like something that actually Toontown Online would have incorporated themselves. Now, I'm not riding the dick of the Corporate Clash mods, or the people that created the game, the developers, and saying that the game is perfect, because it's definitely not perfect. There's some issues with, you know, the UI, and, you know, it's laggy. There's a lot of crashes. I can't even see my laugh meter sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of issues on Corporate Clash that I'm hoping that they solve in the next update. But I'd be lying if I said this game was not miles better than Toontown Rewritten, and that Toontown Rewritten should not have 4,000 players on it a day as compared to Toontown Corporate Clash that has only 400 players 500 players max on a given weekend day, and the game is 10 times better than rewritten. I mean, I stopped making Toontown videos for a reason, because I had nothing else to make. I started playing rewritten a couple months ago, and I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll start making videos again. I'm going to revive the whole, the Soggy Nachos lineage, right? And I was like, all right, well, what am I going to do? Take a video of me doing a back nine? Why am I going to do it? Everyone knows that a back nine is just an annoying grind that everyone sits there and listens to music or watches Netflix in the background anyway, and doesn't actually pay attention to what they're doing, because everyone walks up and does the same strategy. Okay, first battle of the back nine after getting out of the maze, 1 foghorn, 3 trunks, and then everyone pies the level 10, and then one person drops on the version 2.0 cog just in case the throw misses. And then on the second battle, 2 foghorns, 2 awoogas, and save your gags. And then you do the same thing, rinse and repeat the whole time. The game gets really boring and there's no strategy. Corporate Clash, you have that strategy, right? People say that you have to get sound and prestige it. You really don't. Should you? Maybe. But me, as a soundless tune-upless tune, I've not had any hard time, and people have been able to do multiple things with their sound gags that have allowed us to be fine in the situations. Some people have hated on me, but fuck them, because everyone's always going to hate on someone that doesn't have sound or the gag track that everyone else has. So I'm going to go more into depth, definitely, about some of the Toontown rewritten versus Toontown Clash type situations, how I think the game is better overall. I mean, even the event going on right now, the Crash, not the Crash Lawbot, that's a fucking Toontown rewritten thing. The event in Lawbot HQ that's going on, where every Lawbot cog you defeat, you get a docket. You take those dockets. There's a tune resistance outpost hidden in one of the tune buildings on Polar Place. You run into that building. There's task lines to get special clothing items. And then there's a vendor that sells a limited time item for these dockets, where you can get a bunch of dope clothes, how Toontown Rewritten had those Sellbot and Cashbot suit outfits that you had to get by like riding the dicks of the Rangers in the Toon HQs and following them around and fighting a cog until they'll be like, wow, you're doing a good job, you get it. Well, Toontown Corporate Clash has both of those suits on top of, well, a better version of those suits on top of, in the Lawbot HQ event. All you have to do is get some dockets so you can go buy that dope shirt, the Lawbot version, which Toontown Rewritten never even, introduced. So there's lots of dope events, and they even came out with a really sick boss that I haven't done yet. The Witness Stand-In is the new name for the CJ, for the Chief Justice, and I think it's ARG or ARC mode, and you have to go in with 4 tunes, and you all have to see all 12 jurors in the jury, and then you go fight a level 50 cog that has a whole lot of health that pretty much kills everyone in 3 hits if you guys don't have the proper strategies, and a whole lot of cogs are coming to follow it. So it's something different and kind of like refreshing on the game, that makes you kind of keep playing. I was getting really bored with Toontown Rewritten, and I was just kind of in it for the grind. I was like, yeah, I'll max my tune because, in Toontown Online, I had a 136 tune, and I, had to max golfing and thought about, maxing that tune, and then realized, like, what else is there to do after that? Corporate Clash, every boss has a tiered system. The balancing is great. The level scale is great. So there's so many situations that you should give Corporate Clash a try overall. So yeah, I'm gonna go definitely more in depth about some of these situations with like comparisons of like the factories and how they're different and harder, and like the cog facilities as a whole and the cog bosses, and just leveling up as a whole and how that's different in Corporate Clash as compared to rewritten. But other than that, I'm gonna sign off for now. So thanks everybody for tuning in, making it to the end of the video. I'm gonna be dropping more content. Let me know if y'all like this or what else you want to see. And that's it. Peace.